Hi guys, welcome to a new video. In this video we're gonna talk about total heart analyzation. Let me introduce my group. I'm Mubarak Somani with introduction. Abdullah bin Thaqib, plot, summary. Hamad bin Haris, conflict. Abdurrahman bin Nasir, setting. Abdullah Musaffir, themes. An introduction. Gentle Heart is a horror short story by American writer Edgar Allan Poe, first published in 1843. It is a story of a nameless person. He explains his being extremely nervous but not that he's insane. To prove that he is not insane, he shares an event from his past. He tells about an old man and that he loved him except his horrible eye. He hated old man's eye to the extent that decided to kill him. After planning to kill the old man, the narrator went to the old man's bedroom consecutively for 7 days at midnight. Each night he opened the bedroom door and put in a lantern with adjusted light. The narrator was unable to kill the old man for 7 nights because he didn't open his eye. It was the 8th night when the eye opened and the old man was killed. Before killing the old man, the narrator threw the lantern's light on his eye. He then dragged him off the bed, who could scream only once before being killed. After that, the narrator hid every proof of his crime by cutting the body and hiding it under the floorboards in the same bedroom. When he was just finished, 3 policemen arrived because someone in the neighborhood had called them, hearing a shriek, to which the narrator says confidently that he himself had shrieked in nightmare. He further claimed that the old man was out of town. The cops were convinced, and the narrator brought them to sit in victim's bedroom. As they talked, the guilty narrator started hearing a sound, ticking and terrible, which got louder and louder until he was unable to take it anymore. Freaking out, he confessed his crime and told the policeman to discover the dead body, which was hidden under the floorboards. He stated that the old man's heart still beating even when he was killed. It is unclear what is the relationship between the old man and his murder. It has been suggested that the old man is father figure, or that the narrator works for the old man as a servant, and that perhaps his vulture eye represents some evil, as the narrator thought. The ambiguity and lack of details in plot analysis.
Okay guys, my name is Abdullah Salih bin Thaqib and I hope you are in good health. Well, now I will talk about the plot of the Telltale Heart story. In this story, the plot has the conflict, the complication, the climax, suspense, and the denouement. Number 1. The complication part of the plot tells us that the old man would not be killed for months if he doesn't wake up. Number 2. Murder of the old man is the climax of the story. Number 3. Much suspense is created by calm and composed attitude of the narrators upon arrival of the police. Later, when he guides them in the house and confidently takes them to the murder man's bedroom and he hears the sound, the suspense is at its peak. Number 4. The denouement. The denouement part of the plot starts when the noise which the narrator hearing gets louder to the text that he is unable to tolerate it. to relieve himself and thinking that the noise will stop, he discloses his crime to the policeman. The plot ends with the source of the sound identified by the narrators as the beating of Hyde's heart. The blood type of the turtle heart has 5 stages of anticipation, dream, frustration, nightmare, and distraction. In anticipation stage, the narrator tells us that the old man has creepy eye and that he has been exhausted that for a long time, so he decides to get rid of it. At dream stage, there are 8 nights of spying and murder of the old man. The narrator feels frustrated as the police, who have arrived a few minutes after the body is hidden beneath the floor, seem to suspect nothing, and the ringing of his ears keeps getting louder. The nightmare stage starts when when due to the ringing gets louder and getting louder and louder. The narrator is unable to control the situation. Nobody else seems to hear his sound, which leads to the distraction stage. The narrators can no more hide his cold. The end of story doesn't quite fit disaster mode because the narrator doesn't die. He only condemns himself by pointing out towards the floor when the body is hidden beneath.
Allah, my name is Hamad Islam Salmin Ali. The first conflict is both external and internal. The narrator begins the story by asking the reader, "But why will you say that I am mad?" This conflict is external, in that the narrator is attempting to convince his audience that he is only ill and not crazy. It is internal, in that the narrator is also trying to convince himself of this same thing. This conflict is resolved through the act of telling the story of his madness. The next conflict is a bit more obvious. The external conflict between the old man, who has the eye of vulture, and the narrator who wishes to kill him. The narrator sneaks into the old man's room every night in order to plan, which arguably could be viewed as internal conflict as well. How do I kill him? When? This conflict is ultimately resolved when the narrator murders the old man. The final conflict is once again both external and internal. The narrator has the external threat of police officers coming to check up on the household after hearing the old man's cry, which poses a certain risk that they may discover the dead body. The internal aspect of this conflict is the persistent beating of the dead heart, and the narrator imagines he is hearing from beneath the flower pots. This conflict is resolved by the narrator confessing to the murder since he can no longer stand to listen to the heartbeat. The main conflict is internal. The narrator faces his own distorting mind, the fact that he does commit the murder, based on nothing but an adverse opinion of the man's eye, and that he then hears the beating of the heart coming through the flower creeps, the racing action, and the suspense. The conflict is resolved in the final scheme when the narrator confesses to his actions and ends the horrific sound of the beating heart.
Setting. The only setting on the story is known is that it takes place inside a house. Even the details of the house are not given. The old man keeps his shutters locked. It seems that the house is in urban location and maybe in a location where crime rate is relatively high. The inside of the house is only known so far as the old man's bedroom is concerned. This is often scarier that the details about bedroom are not given and the old man is sleeping completely unaware. The bedroom also signifies that is narrator and unable to see his own mind just as he is not able to see into the bedroom. I did.
Themes. The story works on a number of themes and sub-themes which are discussed in the ensuing paragraphs. Humans have evil side. This theme tells us that a human being possesses another side of his personality, which is perverse and wicked. It is another self which instigates him to do evils without any obvious reason or apparent motive. The narrator admits in the beginning that he had committed the murder that made no sense. Object there was none, passion there was none. I laughed at the old man. He had never wronged me. He had never given me insult. For his gold, I had no desire. Discovery of crime. The theme of discovery of crime tells us that the extreme fear of discovery was the cause that led the narrator to disclose his crime. It is worse to be evil inside than to be evil outside. The theme of being evil from inside and outside explains that the old man is not evil. He only has a hideous and repulsive eye which makes him ugly from outside. On the other hand, the narrator is ugly from inside. He is repulsive by nature and wants to kill an apparently harmless old man. He not only plans but executes the murder also. Cunning and cleverness. The main character of the story that is the narrator himself promises in the beginning to tell a tale of cunning and cleverness. He then delivers this story. Who had made a mockery of the chaperone phrase, "Home is where the heart is," in his The Telltale Heart. He expresses an anxiety toward the very idea of home. His idea of home is connected with a place of violence and death and also disease, anguish and isolation. Home is portrayed as a place where mysterious hearts tell stories of horror and crime committed at the darkest hours of the night. Mortality. This short story is a murder mystery. A fear of death prevails in the story. In fact, the story is all about sadness and mourning over merciless death. Time. The story is obsessed with the idea of time. It is from the past 890s, the working on murder happiness. Midnight is the time when the narrator visits the old man and actually kills him, which also symbolizes the time which symbolizes moving forward towards death. Versions of reality. The story disrupts reader's versions of reality. The narrator is so powerful in this description that the reader is forced to follow and believe whatever he tells. Guilt is the worst tormentor. Guilty conscience leads the narrator to accept his crime in agony. He is not suspected and he completes his task perfectly like an expert criminal. Yet his conscience doesn't let him rest and torments him to the extent that he is troubled to admit to policemen what he has done. The story makes it clear that the truth cannot be contained and the guilt always dominates the decision to tell a lie or to hide the truth. Crime and punishment. The prevailing theme of crime and punishment states that every person who commits a crime and tries to hide it cannot escape punishment. One reason or the other leads him to punishment, although he leaves no sign of his crime. Insanity. The story is based on insanity. The way the narrator insists on his sanity and the procedure he adopted to execute his plan of murder. then hiding the body, and then admitting his crime is enough to prove his insanity. Moreover, he accepts that he has done wrong just being irritated by hearing the ticking sound.